Welcome, Deborah. How are you?
Shelly, how you doing?
Wonderful. So I wanted to start with, this is something that's been on my mind. How do you factor in the weather or potential bad weather, destructive weather in your home buying decision making?
So I have a lot of friends that are agents in broker owners in Florida, and they're
Now, what's a broker owner?
brokerage owner. So a real estate brokerage has an owner. Most, the big box names, Keller Williams,
Right.
like all the big ones. What's interesting is South Georgia has these seasonal problems, but in the metro Atlanta area, we do have storms, tornadoes. There is still a lot of damage that's being cleaned up right now from Helene that came through. And it's a consideration when you're looking at a home. Drainage and water issues with any home are always an issue. When I'm working with a buyer who is looking at a home, what we're looking for is water issues you'll see in basements. We have a lot of homes with basements in Atlanta. A lot of people like having a basement. It's extra space that's not just for storage, but media rooms and home theaters. But water can be the kiss of death if it's not handled properly. We're also in an area with a hilly terrain. So when there's hills, water is going to follow the natural flow of the land, and so proper drainage is important. I'm looking for adequate French drains.
What are French drains?
French drains would be like if your house is located on a hill, there's got to be a place for the water to funnel. And when the builder builds the house, those things should be factored in. But many of these older properties in Atlanta, didn't have them. So they have to be corrected at some point. So like along the side of a driveway, if the driveway is on a downward slope, where is the water going? Is it going straight into the garage? How is that being handled? Downspouts, the gutters and the downspouts, is the water dumping out of the bottom of the gutter right at the foot, at the foundation, at where the dirt meets the brick? That's a problem. It has to be diverted away from the house. There's a lot of things in a home that you can address, preventative measures that should be taken when we live in a hilly terrain and we have, seasonal weather. Additionally, we're still cleaning up right now from all the trees down, limbs, damages. The lady that called in last week about the tree limbs on her fence, there's a lot of cleanup still happening from the storm. So that should be looked at. Even if storms are not a consideration, with a heavy tree canopy over a home, if the branches touch the roof, storms aside, you still have squirrels. You have there's so many things that should be looked at.
when you look at these things, right? So I'm looking at a house and you have those issues, right? You fix the drainage and you look at the tree limbs and stuff like that. Do you ask the seller to make those adjustments before you purchase, or do you ask for less to pay less because of those issues?
Well, it depends. My answer every week is depends on the situation. Oftentimes during the process, sometimes you'll get under contract and there's an inspection that'll happen. And the home inspector might notice that the tree limbs are touching the roof line. And they will point out that those tree limbs should be cut back because that makes easy access for squirrels into the attic. Squirrels in the attic cause, oh my gosh, so much damage. That's a problem. Those little furry-tailed rats are trouble.
Right.
Lots of things, and that can be negotiated with the seller to make those repairs. You can negotiate a concession so the buyer can make the repairs after they move in, or, you could skip it, whatever. Like, you have lots of options. You can ask for those things in advance, but in a competitive market, sometimes asking for a lot on the front end might eliminate your opportunity to get under contract. So it just depends
because you're asking for too much.
Sometimes, yeah.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. That's the numbers to call. The name of the show is called Inside Georgia Real Estate. And Deborah Morton is here to take all of your calls. When you talk about the drainage, because I never thought about that. What are they called?
Gutters.
Gutters, right. Yeah. Your gutters, the water runs into your gutters. They run off the roof. They go into the gutters and they run off. I see many of the gutter drain, the open end at the bottom, is always close to the house. What should you do to get it away from?
There's a very simple, go to Home Depot, get a gutter extender.
Gotcha.
I feel like Dave Baker right now.
Right.
Just go to Home Depot and get a gutter extender, attach it to the bottom of your gutter, and run it away from the house the way the natural water flow would be to carry the water. It diverts the water away from the foundation.
Now, when you talked about earlier basements, what should you look for, right? You're going to see a house, a realtor's taking you to see a house. What should you look for in the basement to see if there ever was any water damage?
So there's in an unfinished basement in a cement block wall, it's kind of easy to see. It's called I hope I say this right, efflorescence. It's like a white film that comes through the cement block when there's been moisture in the basement. I also look for if it's a walkout basement, or you can see where water has actually come in. We're closing on a house Monday with a basement where it was clear where the water had come in during a storm through the doorway. Water just seeped in, and you could actually see where the dried rings of the water. You just have to be observant.
Right.
When you're looking at homes from top to bottom, you have to be observant and use common sense about what you're looking at. Like, that's an odd crack. I wonder what that's from.
Right.
I mean, it's not rocket science what we do
Right.
here. You just kind of play detective as you're going through the house.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the person that you talked about with the water stains, right? Mm-hmm. Should I'm in love with the house, right? We're all in love with this house. We're going to see the final walkthrough. We want to go to contract on it, but we see those stains. Is that a reason to back out at that point, or can you fix something like that? Because it seems like if it's coming in a doorway, there's nothing you could do.
To somebody, I mean, to an amateur, yes. So, but it all comes down to if you have enough money, you can fix anything. But most buyers don't have deep pockets and endless cash. So, in that particular case, the grading of the soil outside the house, it's a very simple fix in that. So he actually is moving forward because the fix is pretty simple. A more comprehensive solution would be to dig out, add a French drain, which is basically a drain opening and a pipe underneath that funnels the water away. That's an option. Sometimes just moving the dirt, the way the dirt is up against, you don't want the dirt to slope toward the foundation of the house. You want it to be higher and slope away from the house. That will carry a regular amount of water away from the foundation. Downspouts, extenders, there's
All
lots
those
of
kind of
things you can do to fix things. Now, even if a basement has a high level of humidity and moisture, that's when we have AquaGuard and other good basement solution. There's a lot of companies in Atlanta that are very reputable that can waterproof a basement. And what that would look like is they come in, they assess, they have different types of fixes for it, and of course with different levels of cost.
When you do something like that, so let's talk about that in upgrades, right? You have a home, you purchased a home, you're living in a home, you love your home, you put in new fixtures. Or over time, you put in an island in the kitchen, or you add bookshelves and things like that.
New flooring.
Right.
Yes.
How much value does that actually add to a home? Is it a quantifiable thing, the value that it adds to a home?
There is a predictable ROI with every investment you make in your home, but it's also relative to your community. So if your home is in a community where all the homes are upgraded and yours is not, oh yeah, that is a very quantifiable number. If you're in a neighborhood and none of the homes are upgraded and you have nice flooring and new windows and like all the upgraded fixtures and it looks very modern, the value add is not going to be, it's usually not dollar for dollar.
Right.
Everybody knows kitchens, and I say that, I don't want to assume.
Right.
Kitchens and baths are the best place to put money. Flooring and paint is a great place to put money. Dollar for dollar, though, it's going to depend on what the neighborhood analysis is. So if you're in a neighborhood with $500,000 homes and you have upgraded your home to the point that in your mind, after what you invested, it's worth $750,000. But all the other homes in the neighborhood are selling for $500,000, you're not going to get that extra $250,000 in value back.
That's what I was asking about.
I always advise people to build it for themselves. If you're going to be in this home for the next 10 years, make it so you love it. Do it for yourself. Don't worry about the dollar spend. If you want to have nicer flooring, golly, you deserve it. It's your home. It's more than that because you have to live it. Now, if you're temporary, if you move to Atlanta for a job and you know you're only going to be here for 2 years, then I would advise you to look at what the comps are and how much. I would tell you don't spend more than 50 grand
Right.
upgrading because the neighborhood in 2 years' time, you're not going to get that back.
Let's go to Michael. Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Michael from Atlanta. Thank you for holding as well. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Deborah. Hey, Shelley. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Deborah, I have been renting my whole life, and I am pretty sick of it, fed up with it, to be honest with you. And I'm just wondering, are there any government programs out there that I could take advantage of for first-time home buyers? And is there one where I can get assistance from the government, maybe with a down payment?
Yes, down payment assistance programs are available. Georgia changes them up frequently.
What do you mean by changes them up?
Well, what they're offering changes, and the requirements for them change. So they are usually tied to credit score, all of this. The couple of programs that are used frequently, and I don't want to sound like I'm not answering your question, but I'm not a mortgage professional, but I will gladly connect you with several that you can talk to. But the down payment assistant programs are very helpful. There are some restrictions on them, but getting the information is the first place to start. If you've been renting for a long time, I strongly encourage you to at least get the information. There are costs associated that are rolled back into the program. So a lot of them require that you stay in the home for 5 years or more, or there's a prepayment penalty that you have to pay back the assistance you received, and that's fair. You know, they're fronting the money, they're adding it in.
But when you pay back the assistance, it's within your payment to the bank, or you pay them separately?
Well, it's just loaded in, so it's not a free program, but it makes the difference between somebody who doesn't have, you know, a lot of cash reserves getting in a home. If you find a home and you're going to be there, and you know you're going to be there more than 5 years, it's a great program. The way appreciation has worked, even if you're not going to be there 5 years, it might still help you get a leg up and get out of the rental cycle, because that's really keeps people in poverty. And not speaking to you specifically, but that endless cycle of renting, people can't get ahead, and 10 years pass and you've missed the opportunity to have equity in a home that is real value to calculating your net worth.
Where would Michael go to get the information on the different programs?
If you send me a message on the website,
Inside Georgia realestate.com.
Yes, spelled out.
Spelled out, right.
Yes. And I will connect you with a couple of people and give you, I have a PDF sheet that I can email you over with kind of an overview of the programs. And then if you want to pursue a conversation with a reputable lender, that's the best way to get the information you need. And good luck to you. I really encourage you to at least get the information and figure out what the best plan for you is.
Did you get that, Michael?
I did. Thank you so much. I didn't have time, but I've already applied. It doesn't make any sense because I can afford an apartment, but when I applied for a loan through my credit union, they said that I made too little and that my mortgage would have been less than what I'm paying for rent. So if I can afford rent in an apartment, but I can't afford to get into a home where the mortgage would be less, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Michael? Go ahead.
No, I want to address that. So credit unions have the most restrictive lending requirements on purpose. The credit union their goal is to protect the members of the credit union. It's a membership type of lending institution. So they're going to be the most conservative in what they offer you. There are other options, and I'm not talking loan shark kind of the options. You have other options than your credit union. Everything will be based on your debt to income ratio. There are percentages and rules that a conforming loan, the government-backed loans, are going to follow. But you have more options than just your credit union. But don't think that's the end all. I love credit unions because they're such a good place for savings and checking, and they really offer benefits to their members. But for mortgages, it can be a little bit restrictive.
All right, Michael, listen, IGRE@WSBradio.com. You could send Deborah an email, or you can go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com, okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
It's fall now, right? And I know there's certain things, like right now, Clark Howard has said, I've heard Clark Howard say over the years, buy my summer clothes, like now. right? Buy my spring, summer clothes now because because it's cold, right? And so I've learned to do that. I've learned to buy out of season for clothes because I'm not this big fashion plate, right? Is real estate the same thing? Is there a good or bad or best time of year to sell your home?
So in a lot of people's minds, it's tied to the school schedule. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, because people don't want to disrupt their kids during the school cycle. You know, if they can move in the summer months, that's more convenient for everyone, work, school, kids, sports, like all the things. But during COVID, that kind of changed because now everything is virtual. And so I would say we have plenty of data that shows houses sell year round, no matter what. I find that the spring market is what in a lot of people traditionally think that's like the busy time. It is busy. We have a lot of people who look at homes in the spring, but those aren't necessarily the serious buyers. Those are the people who are looking at homes.
Gotcha.
And when we're selling a house, we want people who are buying homes, not just looking. So there's a difference in what we're doing. In the spring, we do often see more inventory on the market. And what that means is more people are putting their home up for sale. We actually see it start in January and February with home repairs, landscaping, all the prep work. When I sell a home, I like to meet with somebody. 6 months is ideal for me because if
6 months previous
yes,
or?
Yes. I know that sounds like a lot.
No, it doesn't at all. It doesn't at all.
Right. So if somebody is wanting to move next year, I would much rather meet with them today because there are going to be things that I see and point out that I would probably be helpful to fix in advance. Or at least we can do a proper evaluation of the home to see if there's some money that should be spent that would net you more when you're selling. So typically in the Atlanta marketplace, the end of March, it gets busy. April, May, June, gangbusters. July and August, we start seeing a little bit of a fall off. September and October are busy again, which is odd.
Right.
And then November, December through the holidays, there's a little fall off. So houses sell because we are a thriving metropolitan area. People are moving here. Sometimes the best sales are in November and December because we have people who want to start a new job January 1st.
Right.
We have a lot of investment activity that happens this time of year, especially with 1031 exchanges, and people want to like close out their books before the end of the calendar year. So there's a lot of activity all the time, and it's based on people's real lives.
Gotcha.
But yes, so the short answer is the spring, with our school calendar being extended now, summer is really short. There is not a lot of time between the time the kids get out of school and they start school August 1st now. I don't know if you realize that.
Right.
It's not after Labor Day like it used to be.
So that being said, right, so I own my home. I'm thinking about selling. You're saying now October, I should start talking to a realtor about that. I don't have to talk to the realtor and put it on the market immediately. I should start that discussion. That's ideally the way to work it.
I mean, in a perfect way, if I had my preference, yes. When we have somebody who needs to sell immediately, it's usually an emergency of some sort, and we can work at whatever pace you want. And most of the really good agents and teams can do that, but it's generally not ideal because we want time to stage and to clean and to prepare and to do all the things. In my case, I also like to do community highlight videos. There's a lot that goes into a very good sale of a home that people don't even see behind the scenes.
I want to ask a question about potential sellers and what they should look for. But Mark called in earlier. He couldn't hang on. He wants to know what's the process, or is there a process of getting financing for a renovation on a home if you don't have cash?
Yes, so you can. A lot of people would choose to do an equity line of credit from their bank. If they've been in the home for a while, you have equity built up. It's pretty simple to get a home equity line of credit for improvements and repairs. And then when you sell, you're paying everything off, and it's pretty simple. Depending on, like, what we do for a lot of people is we have a concierge program which includes paying fronting the money for some renovations and improvements to prep a home for sale. There are lots of options.
Wait. That's important to hear. Say that again. So if I'm selling my home and you see...
If you need new flooring and paint, because that's the most common.
Right.
You know, if you've lived in your home, especially if you have kids, the walls are dinged up, you got the little handprints everywhere. That needs to be cleaned up before even the trim work. Paint is the best bang for the buck when you're selling a home. Neutral paint, not wild colors. We want to neutralize everything. So yes, our company at Clario, we have a concierge program where we help prepare a home for sale because it shows better, it sells faster, and for more money when it presents well. And that is clean, fresh, and it feels more move-in ready. Carpet, flooring, paint, little freshen up of the landscaping outside. Not to make anything fake, but just so it looks presentable.
Right.
You know, you live there 10 years.
Right.
Probably
and
looks tired.
and if you're selling to downsize, you probably don't have that kind of money in order to sell a home.
Well, everybody's situation is different,
gotcha.
and some people are sticklers about their houses. But I mean, who really lives in a house that looks like a magazine on a daily basis?
Right.
But what sells best is a house that looks like it's in a magazine.
So that being said, what should potential sellers, I'm selling my home, what should a potential seller look for in their realtor? Like, what are some of the questions, you know, if I'm talking to Deborah Morton, Clario Real Estate, I want you to list my home. What are some of the questions I should ask you to get a better idea if you're a good realtor, a good match for me?
It's interesting how few people actually interview an agent. And there's a lot of data from the National Association of Realtors that says that. You know, everybody has like a cousin or a friend or a neighbor that, oh, she's an agent. But when you're selling a home, experience and credibility matters. What is the number of homes you've sold in the area? Are you a local market expert? How fast do your homes sell? At what price? Is it close to list price, or are there deep concessions? Does that agent know how to price a home correctly? Does that agent know how to negotiate and keep the price where you want it to be? What's the marketing plan? Because times have changed. It's no longer a time where you can just stick a sign in the yard and put it on the MLS and think it's going to sell for top dollar. The video-centric, the high-tech capability. I mean, look at my setup here, Shelley.
Right.
Everything we do is technology-based now online. And with third-party vendors like Realtor.com and the Z-Master and all of those, how everything is handled on the internet, Google is a huge benefit to an agent who knows how to market a home well. Then you have internet, email marketing, agent marketing, what is the process? What you should be asking is, what is the process you follow to get the home sold well? There's got to be a process, and you've got to come prepared.
Let's take Don in Canton. Hey, Don.
Hey.
Hi, Don.
How are you doing? Hi. How you doing, Deborah?
Good. Thanks for calling. What can I help you with?
Yeah, I was calling to see, as a realtor, do you ever do lease options?
Like,
as far as
like a rent-to-own type of situation?
Yeah. With the rates being as high as they are, you figure it'd be more advantageous, and I didn't know if you did anything like that.
So we haven't really seen those since pre-pandemic.
Why do you think that is?
Housing prices went up. So like it was easy to sell a home. So somebody who wants to sell, get whatever they wanted out of it and take the cash and run.
Gotcha.
Back in the day when it was a true buyer's market and it was advantageous to a seller to do a lease to own. So I've actually seen a couple pop up recently, but it's just not as economically helpful to a seller, except for like if a homeowner has a home that's paid for and a lease to own, that could still happen. It's just few and far between now. I don't see a lot of it.
And it's not because it's not a good opportunity. It's simply because the sellers are moving their inventory.
Take the money and run.
Right.
Yeah. Versus waiting over, however, let's say you negotiate a 20-year mortgage with a owner to buy the home over 20 years. They oftentimes just want to take their cash and go.
Right. Don, does that answer your question?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. I wish I had more options for you that way.
But that makes sense.
Yeah. With rents and interest rates and mortgage being high, people are looking for solutions that are out of the box.
Right.
And when we're in a tough time economically, that's what people start doing is looking for solutions.
But I would think when pricing and mortgage rates are high, prices are high, I would think sellers would be more apt to work out a lease to own, not for 20 years, but on a short time basis to get that. Because most of the ones I've seen are to get the down payment saved up. So if it's $300,000 home and I'm paying $2,500 a month, I don't need 20 years. I just need 2 years on a lease to own.
So I'm curious, spitballing ideas about that, but most people who own a home, like if I own a couple of homes, I'm a small investor and I want to do that. Usually I want the money from the sale of that house to go do something else, a different type of investment.
Gotcha.
Versus, let's say I charge you, 8% interest.
Right.
Over time, it just depends how flush the seller is. Like how much do they need the cash? And then curious because so many big corporations own so many houses now, if maybe that's contributed to why things are dried up in that. Those lease to own things used to be like person to person deals.
Right.
And now we have all these big corporations that own so many homes that maybe I'm just spitballing ideas
Right.
that
those
could
all,
be impacting.
Those all make sense. Jean in Norcross. Go ahead, Jean.
Hi, I wanted to find out with the new changes with commissions and things, what percentage of a home sale I should consider I will lose minimum to be able to sell a house.
Jean, so who you hire, it matters what you expect out of them. What is their marketing plan? How are they going to help assist you? It is completely negotiable. That was the point of the changes in it. What you pay your listing agent to market and sell and negotiate on your behalf, I would expect that in the Atlanta marketplace, a full service broker would probably be 3 to 4%. A discount broker might be 1 to 2%.
What's the difference?
The level of service and marketing that you're going to get.
Gotcha.
As a full service broker, I have an investment like the concierge services, like the internet marketing, all of the things that we do to bring the maximum exposure for your home to the marketplace. That costs money. Staging, photography, videography, drone work, floor plans, 3D tours, all of those things cost money. And if you want top dollar for your home and your home is worth it, then pay a full service broker. There are discount models available that cost a lot less and you get a lot less. You can take cell phone pictures, your iPhone will take a picture and they can put that on the internet and see what you get. You can answer the phone yourself. You get what you pay for with a real estate broker. What you offer for buyer's agent compensation is negotiable as well. Buyer's agents don't work for free. Buyer's agents are the people who bring the buyers to your home. And yes, they are negotiating against you. They're trying to get the best price for their client. But what they are doing is marketing and helping bring buyers into the home. That costs money as well. You don't have to pay for that. It's not required. That's the conversation you need to have with your broker, the agents that you're interviewing. And if you want, send me an email or go to the website, InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. I will gladly kind of break it out for you, and you can just pick my brain. No pressure.
All right, Jean?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate the advice.
No promise. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
My sister, before we go, any last words for this wonderful audience and all these great callers?
Y'all send me your questions. I'm glad to answer them. We can talk more about the concierge program or any questions you have about real estate. No pressure, no obligation. I'm glad to answer your questions.
IGRE at WSBradio.com. Deborah answers all the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful weekend. Dogs play at 7:30. Stevie Wonder's at 8 o'clock. What a weekend. God bless you all.
Go